Hello and welcome to the December edition of In the World, where we take a look at current events going on in the news and talk about them from a Christian perspective. My name is Greg Derwart, and it's great to be back with you again this month. And you'll notice we have a new face joining the crew, so let's find out who you are.
I am another Greg.
Awesome.
I'm Greg Critzer. I've been a member here at Trinity for 10 plus years. Thoroughly enjoy any unconventional way to discussing the Lord and sharing his word, whether it be plays, other media functions, or just casual conversations.
Absolutely. Well, welcome aboard. Great to have you as a part of the cycle. You guys will notice that we'll have different hosts and co-hosts from month to month, just to shake things up a little bit. But nice to have you part of the team.
Glad to be aboard.
So we, just as we've done for the past few months, we have 3 stories that we're going to share with you all, and we may squeeze in an extra snippet at the end as well. So we'll see if we have time for that. But let's go ahead and tee up our first story. Sound good?
Sure.
All right, let's roll. So story number 1 says, some people go to church each weekend. Others just want to be left alone. Ashley Chanel Fuller falls into the latter category. 30-year-old Fuller lives in her parents' house in Union County, South Carolina. On Saturday, November 3rd, Fuller's father knocked on her door and asked if she wanted to go to church with him and her mother to get communion. Not only did Ms. Fuller decline, she called 911. When the police arrived, she told them her parents knew she didn't want to go to church and that by asking if she wanted to go, they were harassing her. She asked the sheriff's deputies to make her parents leave the house and to leave her alone.
Oh my.
The deputies explained that asking if she wanted to attend church was not harassment, at which time Fuller reportedly became upset, loud, and used profane language. As a result, Fuller was arrested for breach of peace. Her father indicated that she had been acting that way all night. There was no indication that she had been taking drugs or drinking alcohol. The story has been picked up by a number of outlets, with ChristianHeadlines.com titling their story, Woman Calls 911 on Her Parents for Inviting Her to Church, while the atheist website Patheos.com chose the headline, South Carolina woman gets arrested after refusing to attend church.
Greg, there's a lot going on here.
So, yeah, and we could go in several directions here. Let me start by just addressing what we reference at the end here, which is the different ways in which this story is being portrayed, depending on which media outlet you look at. And when you look at the mistrust of the media these days, this is an example of why. So assuming the content that we just read is accurate,
right.
And I think that we've portrayed this story, we have just stated the facts
Correct.
of the story. We all have our biases, but I would think that the headline that says woman calls 911 on her parents for inviting her to church seems like the more accurate portrayal of the story as opposed to the latter. And it's, instances like this latter headline, getting arrested for refusing to attend church, that's not an accurate portrayal of what happened here. So it's a shame when news items are presented in a way where the news outlet's bias is being filtered into even the headline, let alone the content of the story. And that's why so many people do not have a feeling of trust with the news media this day.
Correct,
these
because
days. Yeah.
If I'm getting arrested because I don't want to go to church, then I'm fearful. That's scary.
Right.
But
there's other things going on, like you said.
Yeah. For one thing, she's 30 years old. She's living with her family. I know situations happen financially or whatever. So it seems like her parents are good people. They're letting her live there, and they want to share the church-going experience with their daughter. She's in their house. Let's go to church as a family. This whole other thing about, let me call the police, and I don't know. It's just very troublesome. Yeah.
I mean, like you said, who knows what her personal situation is? Yeah, right. I'm not knocking, young adults that live with their parents. She might be there to take care of her elderly parents. So I'm not, trying to disparage her for that in of itself. But she's living under their roof, and obviously she knows that they are believers.
Oh, exactly.
And and we want to be inviting to everyone, including our family members. Mm-hmm. So,
and that's what we're asked to do. We're asked to share the word with everyone.
We're commanded to do that.
Yes.
So, I would hope that. So obviously, like you said, there's something going on with that family.
But the media slant, I think that's more.
And that was my frustration with that. So
right. But I hope everything works out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We'll move on to story number 2.
Go ahead and share story number 2.
Now, this particular one is very interesting. As Christians, we value life. So let's start from that point of view, from that perception.
Good.
Story number 2. The next story begins back in 2010. In that year, a 38-year-old Belgian woman, Tien Nys, was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. Under Belgian law, the diagnosis permitted her to request to die by euthanasia. Nye's doctor, Dr. Lieve Thienpoint, approved her euthanasia request and carried it out only 2 months after her diagnosis. Now, Dr. Thienpoint and 2 other doctors have been indicted for poisoning their patients. Nye's family has expressed concern over the haste with which the killing was carried out. Specifically, they noted that Nye's longtime psychiatrist refused her request for euthanasia, claiming she did not meet the legal requirements. When Nys did not get what she wanted from him, she moved on and found Dr. Thienpoint. Dr. Thienpoint only saw her for a total of 3 visits, but he was the one who came up with the Asperger's diagnosis. According to the Daily Wire, Thienpoint had been investigated in the past for approving the death of patients who did not meet the legal requirements. Family believes Nys may have manipulated her testing in order to have her request to die granted. Prior to being charged, Thienpoint accused the family of causing Nys illness, claiming they were dysfunctional with little empathy for others. If convicted, Dr. Thienpoint faces a maximum sentence of lifetime imprisonment. Now, my first point, Greg, Asperger's syndrome, I'm not aware that it's a terminal illness.
I would agree with you there, and I think the main point of this story, from our Christian perspective, is just the direction our society can and is going in certain circumstances, in terms of just having a culture of death, and whether it's legalizing abortion or legalizing end of life scenarios here.
No value in life,
right.
No respect for life.
Right. So, I mean, I know that we as family members, if we have elderly parents, we should all, number one, make sure that we all know what each other's end of life expectations are.
Correct. Yes.
Because it's pretty common these days, in working with our doctors, to have documents in place that we can know how far we want our doctors to treat us,
right,
when we're getting towards the end of our life, in terms of taking certain measures and going to a certain degree. So that's one thing, just making sure that our family members
Right.
were all on the same page in terms of knowing that. But this takes things to another level, like abortion on the front end and assisted suicide on the back end, where, number one, we shouldn't be playing God.
Exactly.
And, aside from normal medical care, I don't think it's up to us to decide when we go.
Right. Only God knows when our time is due.
Exactly. So there's a lot of good people that have died young, and our worldly perspective might be, oh, they died too young.
Right.
But they may have a purpose in heaven that we have no idea, what God has in store for all of us.
Exactly.
And when our work on this earth is done, that's when He'll take us.
Correct.
One of my best friends had a baby that died at 4 months. But the effect that baby had on their, family and community was impactful.
Right.
So it breaks your heart, when children or people die before you think they should die.
Yeah.
But it's not up to us.
And then you have other people who they're struggling. They want to live. I mean, and that choice is taken from them. Whether it be terminal illnesses or something else. And then you have people like this, where it's like they have no value in their life whatsoever. Oh, I'm not perfect, so I just want to die, basically. Yeah. And that's what's really concerning. Yeah. And you're right. Our time is limited, and only God knows when our time to come home.
That's right.
So
that's right. So.
Yeah.
All right, we ready for our third story?
Third story. Now, this one's really interesting.
Okay. A group of students at California State University, San Marcos, has accused Christian children's program Veggie Tales of being racist. Professor Dreama Moon, that's not a typo, is it?
No, I don't think so.
has her students create projects that evaluate various items in popular culture and look for evidence of racism in them. These projects are then presented at the Whiteness Forum, an annual event that emphasizes taking a critical look at what is called whiteness. The projects this year concluded, among other things, that the Christian cartoon Veggie Tales is racist because the villains are vegetables of color. Specifically, the student who presented the project claimed that the villains tend to have Latino accents, whereas the heroes sound white. She concluded, when these kids see a good white character triumph over the bad person of color, a bad person of color character, they are taught that white is right and minorities are the source of evil. Okay.
Craig, you've seen the Veggie Tales, right?
My girls grew up with these stories. All right, let me just start with this. If any of us from Baltimore, remember the talk show host Ron Smith?
Yes.
The voice of reason. He would probably say that this story stems from the country of Absurdistan.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
This is ridiculous.
Yes.
So, all right. So, those of you who have seen these Veggie Tale cartoons, your children may have seen them.
Yep.
They are the most positive, uplifting type of messages.
Yes.
It's basically Sesame Street with Christian, from a Christian perspective.
Correct.
They're wonderful messages of hope and just expresses the love of Jesus and the love of God. So if you've ever seen these stories, you know that as a part of their humor, they utilize many different accents, from Latino to French to British,
Italian,
to rural. I'll leave it at that.
There you go.
And the accents are peppered in. They all take turns,
Right.
as what they call good characters and bad characters. But the point of the show is that it shows that we're all sinners and we're all saved.
Yeah, so they're missing the message.
So, but we've had experience from a theatrical standpoint dealing with different accents.
I have a great example for you. A recent current example. Trinity Lutheran Church. We have It's a Wonderful Life, December the 19th, 6:30 to 9 p.m.
I've heard about that.
Dinners included, $15 tickets. It's a great show. I'm in that show. And let me tell you, I have 4 characters in this show. So you have to think of, I can't use the same tone for each character, so you have to come up with a different voice for each one. So you start thinking, okay, I'm Clarence the Angel. He's going to have a different tone. Ernie the cab driver, a little rougher. And then, of course, there's Giuseppe. He's Italian. No ill intent. You just want each voice to be different from what you know.
Right.
Basically, with this, it's all about perception. The project was to go find racism, so of course you can find racism or negativity anywhere you look. If you're looking for something, you'll find it.
That's a good point.
So basically you look at this and you're missing out on the message because you're looking for negativity.
Yeah.
Again, I wonder if they've even actually watched these shows to really get the message rather than looking at it from their project point of view.
Good point.
Yep.
So we don't have time to get into another issue I have with this, being a college level class perpetuating this to begin with. So,
Correct.
Well, I'll just put that on the shelf and save that for another time.
Correct.
So these are our 3 stories, but I did mention, and it would be nice during the season of Advent and as we look towards the joy of Christmas, there was one other positive story that I just want to just mention.
Yes.
I was watching a recording yesterday of the ESPN College Football Awards. Mm-hmm. And one of their awards is called the Disney Spirit Award. Mm-hmm. And my impression is that usually it's given to one of the athletes, one of the football players, or even a coach. Mm-hmm. But this particular award this year was given to a non-athlete student at Purdue University. Mm-hmm. His name is Tyler Trent, and he was given this Disney Spirit Award. Tyler is a student at Purdue. You could argue he is their super fan.
Yes.
But the interesting point is that he is dying of bone cancer. Yeah, he's gone through first round of treatment, was in remission for a very short period of time. It's come back, and throughout this fall, he has months, if not weeks. It's only a matter of time. Right. But long story short, and I urge you to look this story up and just take a look at it if you haven't found it. Tyler Trent. But the point I wanted to make was during the feature on this award show where they were showing the interaction between Tyler and the football team and the coach, and they just have just taken him on as like their mascot. They just love him, and they absolutely, and he has been such a motivation for him. And Pastor Jay probably doesn't like the fact that he motivated them to upset Ohio State,
big Buckeyes fan,
recently. So, but during the feature, they showed the whole team come and visit Tyler at his home, and they were praying over him over his bed. So. And he spoke about his faith in God as what's getting him through this. So that was a wonderful story to see.
When you find the video, make sure you have Kleenex because it was very tearful, very touching. Yeah.
So, well, Merry Christmas. Thanks for joining the team.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Again, this was my first experience here, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And, just looking forward to, again, sharing the word. So next month, we'll do this again, different topics. It'll be the new year. We'll see what 2019 brings.
Sounds good.
Again, thank you.
God made you special, and he loves you very much.
Hey, if you haven't joined our Patreon yet, would you mind giving it your prayerful consideration? Patreon is a way you can support the Trinity Joppa YouTube channel. We've got multiple tiers to choose from, starting as low as $2 per month. Visit www.patreon.com/TrinityJoppa for all the details. Thank you. God bless.